Sure, I'm your host, John Briston. Thank you for being a subscriber. If you want to support my work, buy me a coffee / we've read. All support is appreciated and needed. If possible, donate if you can, if the Holy Spirit leads you to. If you want to subscribe to my work, search We've Read the Documents on Odyssey, Patreon, Substack, and Rumble. Substack gives you the greatest content to my work. You get my written work, as well as you get access to my Spotify stream, so you listen to my shows in podcast form. And my fellow brother in Christ and I, Jeremy Stone, have a Christian podcast, By Their Fruits. You can listen to on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. So let's start.
Of the United States of America, Emperor Trump, I would like to invite him towards the Ahmadi religion of peace and light.
Well, it makes sense that they would cast Jeffrey Morgan to play the Mahdi during the end times. And now what's funny about this clip
And this
right
is
here
Shepherd for the King. I don't agree with him on everything, but I follow him. And I think he's got some good takes.
was that I was listening to it before making this video, but then my wife heard it from the other room, but she didn't hear exactly what he said. So she screamed out, "Oh, what did he say?" And this was my response right here. Oh, apparently the Mahdi is inviting Trump to join forces and take over the world or something like that. You can't make this up. Now, let's be honest, him calling Golden Dawn the Emperor is hilarious, but it's also insightful. Which, for those who understand what's going on, there is this type of spirit behind this movement of bringing forth a Caesar-like figure, which in the future will be the Antichrist, but they are trying to collect all the power to the executive branch to make this type of Caesar. And whether he is the guy or not doesn't even matter. The same thing goes for this guy right here. It doesn't even matter that this guy right here is clearly a joke, but rather it is the rhetoric and the messaging behind him. As we can see with his latest video, he's trying to unite the three Abrahamic religions.
That's crazy. He's now calling himself the Mahdi. You have the Mahdi's manifesto, and you have the Mahdi has appeared. That's crazy.
And not to mention how this religion is called a religion of peace and light. 1 Thessalonians 5:3, for when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. And 2 Corinthians 11:14, and no wonder.
And to Christians, the Mahdi would be the Antichrist. The Arabs would be deluded to believe is their Messiah.
For Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also transform themselves into ministers of righteousness, whose end will be according to their works. And this is why I find what this guy is saying pretty interesting, especially the timing of it all. Him going viral pretty much overnight after the Pope passing away sure seems like a wild coincidence. And like I said before, I do not believe this guy is a serious threat. I think he is a joke. Clearly, to anybody who has an ounce of discernment, nobody accepts him. The Muslims do not accept him. Christians do not accept him. Jews do not accept him. But again, it is the messaging. It is the narrative. Just pay attention to what he teaches. He rejects Paul. So we as the Gentile church, if we reject Paul, we have a serious theological issue because he's the one who has given us the gospel of grace. He is our apostle. So that is a huge thing also right there that we need to be careful of in these end times. People denying Paul and trying to lead us away into a different gospel, as we see in the book or the epistle of Galatians, to be careful of anyone teaching or preaching a different gospel.
The spirit of Antichrist hates Paul.
Teaching this idea of aliens. If you go to his website, it's all about aliens or other cosmic brothers and sisters, which can also play into the end times deception. He is trying to unite world religions with peace and light. So as we know, in the end times, there would be a one world religion.
I think this guy is just a false prophet. I've read that Jesus said that false prophets will increase, towards the end times, towards tribulation. So I think that's all he is. I don't think he's the false prophet. I just think he is a false prophet.
Unifying together under the Harlot of Revelation chapter 17. To be honest with you guys, this is the only reason why I'm making this video talking about him, is to show you the deeper messaging going on, the rhetoric, that we just need to take a step back to look at the bigger picture, to see the puzzle pieces that are coming into play, all the prophetic pieces that are converging together. And it's really just building up. I mean, everywhere, at every just category, things are escalating. I mean, for the Pope passing away, and then this guy rises up to try to unite Muslims and Christians and Jews, shows you the times that we are in. So with that being said, just continue to focus your eyes upon the Lord, realizing the season and times that we're in, having your heart ready to see him face to face one day, loving others, being salt and light in this wicked and dark world, and just do not be deceived out there. Really pray for discernment and wisdom. So with that, guys, I love you all so much. God bless. Remember, the just shall live by faith.
All right, so I just want to remind people the 2016 Cambridge Analytica ops on May the 5th, 2016, the infamous Taco Bowl. Happy Cinco de Mayo. The best taco bowls are made in Trump Tower Grill. I love Hispanics. So that's Trump. I actually remember this. I remember the backlash and Trump trolling. If he is the Antichrist, he is a master troll, if not the master troll, right? So you have Trump actually, actually retweeting this today. This was so wonderful 9 years ago today, and though it didn't show it, the White House also retweeted it as well too, which will make it a matter of public record now in Trump's library. So there you go. So here's Trump from the White House. Happy May the 4th to all, including the radical left lunatics who are fighting so hard to bring Sith lords, murderers, drug lords, dangerous prisoners, and well-known MS-13 gang members back into our galaxy. You're not the rebellion, you're the empire. May the 4th be with you. So we have Trump with a red, some people say orange lightsaber. If it's a red lightsaber, that's the color Sith lords use. Jedis use blue. Unless you're Mace Windu, which Mace Windu, Samuel L. Jackson, was special enough to get a purple lightsaber. But, so again, this should show Trump. And then some people have talked about kind of the Russian, Persian, Germanic connections of the two birds behind him, both being eagles, but, the two birds, one being to his left and one being to his right, facing opposite directions, right? You'll see the coat of arms and stuff like that. Maybe. I'm not saying that's specifically what it symbolizes, but maybe. That's something I wanted to mention. So you have a Q post from November 16, 2019. How to select bad actors, attempt comms whose signet collection, rebellion or empire, private invite only factions, dark to light. Okay, so you have this, Star Wars was heavily occultic. Some people could argue there are Freemasonic themes within Star Wars. And so you have the dark to light aspect. Here's Donald Trump posting the picture of him as the Pope is artificially made. So you would think that would enrage Catholics around the world, where the Catholics that back Trump seem to kind of just wave it off, right? They were just kind of like, oh, he's just trolling, whatever, and then the Catholics that did not back Trump or seem to be antithetical to Trump, they don't like Trump, were greatly outraged like this. Catholics falsely believe that the pontiff is the vicar of Christ on earth, right? Which there's no biblical foundation for that at all. And so, there you go. You have kind of the White House also pushing this to as well, this AI amendment to Trump. So here's what Trump had to say about it.
Mr. President, some Catholics were not so happy about the image of you looking like the Pope.
Oh, I see. You mean they can't take a joke? You don't mean the Catholics. You mean the fake news media. Not the Catholics loved it. I had nothing to do with it. Somebody made up a picture of me dressed like the Pope, and they put it out on the internet. That's not me that did it. I have no idea where it came from. Maybe it was AI, but I know nothing about it. I just saw it last evening. Actually, my wife thought it was cute. She said, "Isn't that nice?" Actually,
Melania is supposed to be a Catholic.
I would not be able to be married, though. That would be a lot. I'd have to the best of my knowledge, popes aren't big on getting married, are they? Not that we know of, no. No, I think it's the fake news media that, they're fakers.
My question, though, sir, was about the fact that it was put out on the White House account. Even though it was AI generated, it was a joke, it was a meme. Does it at all diminish the substance of the official White House account to have it go out on that?
Give me a break. It was just somebody did it in fun. It's fine. Have to have a little fun, don't you?
Trump, the ultimate troll, right? Never takes responsibility. It's always a joke. It's funny. No one's offended, right? No one's offended that I'm Pope, and you have Poly Market where you can bet your Polygon cryptocurrency of whether Trump will be Pope or not, or who's the next Pope, or, the wars going on in Israel and the Ukraine. Yes, you could actually bet on wars because why not, right? It's ultimate Satan's gambling casino. So why not, right? You can bet on who's the Pope. You can bet if Trump's going to be the Pope. You can bet on when the Pope Princess was going to die. You could have betted on, people dying in Israel and Ukraine. So, might as well, right? Bet on anything, right? So it's all a joke. Trump, the chaos candidate, chaos magic magician, MAGA means witch, warlock in Latin, magus, the highest position in the Church of Satan. So there you go, right? You know, he's a joker. He's a jester. J.D. Vance, who claims to be a Catholic, as a general rule, I'm fine with people telling jokes and not fine with people starting stupid wars that kill thousands of my countrymen. This is him going at Council for National Policy member Bill Kristol. Hey, J.D. Vance, you fine with the disrespect and mocking of the Holy Father. So, you know, Kristol bringing out this hypocrisy out of J.D. Vance, right? You know, like, I have no respect for the Pope or any Pope. Try not to be a respecter of persons, respecter of no man. You know, I pray that Pope Francis repented before he died and truly believed that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, Son of Man, so that he could become, you know, born again. Who knows? You know, hold that possibility, possibly. You know, that he knew what he was teaching in the Catholic Church was wrong, but you know, again, there's more crimes with the papacy and you know, the Catholic Church outside of just false doctrine, which is very heinous, leading people away from Jesus. You could argue is the ultimate crime, but you know, there's a lot of money laundering and sex trafficking and sexual abuse within the Catholic Church. So again, you know, it's just hypocrisy is what gets to me. You know, it's like these people are so controlled by Donald Trump and under the grand delusion that you think that they would defend their sacred institution, the Catholic Church, and they don't even do so. So I want to thank Ryan from Real Sports History for sending me some of the crypto stuff on the stream, as well as S90, my research partner. Shout out to both you guys. You guys mean a lot to me, your friendship and your research abilities. And, you know, hopefully I'll have them back both soon.
Ask you about something I don't think you've been asked much about, which is you've branded your own cryptocurrency. The coin's values actually surged recently after you announced that top holders would be invited to have dinner.
I don't even know that. What did it surge to?
What did it surge to?
Yeah, what's it worth? You might as well tell me, because I have no idea.
Well, it surged. It surged. I will find it. Hold on one second. 5.2 or 58%. So 58%.
To what number?
That's not bad. 14.32.
What? Billion?
No, dollars per cryptocurrency.
$1 billion?
No.
What's the number? I mean, what is the amount?
The meme coin's value hit a peak of 75.35 on January 19th.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
And that's before your inauguration, and then it surged.
Look, I'm in favor of crypto.
Okay,
You know
but
why
let me
I'm
just
in
ask
favor?
you, what do you say to those who argue that when they hear that, they worry you're profiting from the presidency?
I'm not profiting from anything. All I'm doing is, you know, I started this long before the election. I want crypto. I think crypto is important because if we don't do it, China's going to.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay. So if Trump is the Antichrist, right? You know, one of the most criminal, take all the money off the table administrations that there has ever been as far as the manipulation of the cryptocurrency market and the stock market. You know, Warren Buffett, quote unquote, retired. You could take that for what it is. You know, that might be because he's part of the Harlot and he's being moved off the table. It could be because of the quantum financial system to come. You know, it could just be a sign of those things, right? We don't know. But, you know, if Trump is the Antichrist, you know, it would appear, and if things continue with the controlled Great Reset to the false quantum financial system, Daniel 8:25, and through his policy, also he should cause craft to prosper in his hand. He shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Okay, so there is kind of a discussion over what it means by peace shall he destroy many. Okay, does that mean that he, you know, his false peace covenant, his covenant of many nations? You know, we don't really quite understand what this means. Okay, now obviously he shall magnify himself in his heart. Obviously that means that the Antichrist would magnify himself to be over God within his heart, right? Like, and we know Trump is very vainglorious, very arrogant. Okay, you can even see about the discussion of the cryptocurrency there and how much the market cap was. You know, Trump wants his cryptocurrency probably to be the highest market cap of all cryptocurrencies in the world right now. I don't think that's going to happen. I didn't necessarily say that. Okay, so maybe I'm taking a little bit of liberty there. But, you know, he is extremely vainglorious. We know that. So it's not far off for me to make that statement. But, you know, with all of the vast amounts of wealth that is being sucked from the American people in the world into a small group of people, including Trump and the Trump family, if he is Antichrist, I do believe, and through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. So again, you know, think of craftiness, right? So when we're looking up, like, so here, I believe it would be the second definition. Okay. The cunning art or skill in a bad sense or applied to bad purposes. Artifice, guile, skill, or dexterity employed to effect purposes by deceit. From Mark 14:1, the chief priests and scribes sought how they might take him by craft and put him to death. So it means the ability, in a bad sense, to be very cunning, to be able to use kind of, you know, wisdom and manipulation to be able to gain money. Okay. So if these people are getting wealthy more than the world has ever seen, and this will continue to grow if it does, then I think that he would fulfill Daniel 8:25, at least this part. Time will tell. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. All right. But, you know, it does seem like that is going to happen through the theosophical false golden age of America and the quantum financial system. Okay. Eric Trump, of course, puts the World Liberty Financial Stablecoin, USD1, is now live on the HTX cryptocurrency exchange, which is run by Justin Sun, who owned Tron and BitTorrent Coin. Okay, who's a known grifter, who supposedly, allegedly, because they said that Trump's holding a dinner for the top holders of his Trump meme coin, which you can buy on Coinbase. Okay, it's like, you know, it's on all the hot top exchanges. Okay, which, you know, when it came and Melania's coin came, it sucked the liquidity out of the crypto market. A lot of the crypto bros were very upset about that because people just threw their money on that and then it dumped, and Trump and his ilk got rich off of Melania coin and Trump coin. So, you know, but Justin Sun is supposedly, allegedly, the top holder of Trump coin. So it's like, yeah, okay, this doesn't stink the high of heaven of insider trading. Craft prospering, right? Donald Trump reacts to Virginia Giuffre's. Now, that's very interesting. This is a side clip here before we read that. Trump reacts to insider trading claims about his administration.
Financial team was giving any type of tips to Wall Street executives about deals with India. There was some reporting yesterday that people had heads up on Wall Street, possibly to make money. Can you commit that that did not happen?
I can commit to myself. That's all I can commit. You know, I have thousands of people that work for me, but I can't imagine anybody doing that. I have very honorable people that I can say, so I can't even imagine it. But no, I haven't even heard that, actually.
The most honorable people. Trump always denies everything. Everything's a joke. The most honorable people work in my administration. I've covered, among other people, who have done deep dives into the corruption of the Trump administration, and, you know, how a majority of it is run by the Council for National Policy, among other groups. You know, and so, of course, that's what he's going to say, right? You can look into Marjorie Taylor Greene, who everybody loves now, you know, because, of her staunch based takes against the boycott, divest, and sanction being outlaw, being listed as anti-Semitism, that you can't boycott Israel, for example. She's against that. She's against no more wars. She's against the Israeli government, Bibi Netanyahu. And yes, though I myself have talked about greatly on this channel that the Israeli government is greatly corrupt, that Bibi Netanyahu is greatly corrupt, that, we should be able to obviously speak out against another government. If we want to boycott another government, that should be within our First Amendment rights to do so, including boycotting this government, for example. But, that being said, though, however, I think this is an op. So Marjorie Taylor Greene is now the darling of the alt-right, darling of the alternative media, because she's speaking out against these things. But yet, if you look into how much money that she has made in stock options and stock, trading the wide swings of the tariff announcements by Donald Trump, or, trading certain technocratic stocks, for example, she's been making a killing where Nancy Pelosi has been making far less money than she normally does. So what's up with that? Yes, Nancy Pelosi is a corrupt insider trader within Congress, but so is Marjorie Taylor Greene. But now she's everybody's darling. And the reason why I didn't talk about that bill that made it you couldn't boycott Israel is because now I do believe something like that is eventually going to come, but I knew it was too soon. I knew it was too soon. I knew it would be torpedoed, and things will work. Things will work. Okay. So, President Donald Trump has said the death of Jeffrey Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre was a very sad situation, because I think she was covering up your connections to Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, which Whitney Webb still to this day, for the most part, says it was just a business arrangement, that Donald Trump wasn't molesting girls with Jeffrey Epstein. Katie Johnson. Anyway, so sorry, I had a little bit of cough there. But it's a very sad situation. Very sad situation that, someone who I believe that you probably paid off Trump, or you paid off her family, or threatened them. Sky Roberts working at Mar-a-Lago. I've discussed it in depth in this channel of my questioning of the entirety of Virginia Roberts Giuffre's story. Okay, whether she's covering up for Trump or not. And so now that chess piece, someone that could turn against him and could whistleblow against him, is not there any longer. Has been taken off. Either she was killed, or flown to an island somewhere, or whatever. She committed suicide. She was driven to commit suicide due to a trauma in her life, which is tragic, and due to her being in a bitter custody battle with Robert Giuffre, her husband, over their children. There's so many narratives that are being at play right now. It's very hard to determine which one is correct and accurate. I don't know. A lot of what I'm talking here is speculation. It may be educated speculation, but it's still speculation. But it's interesting that he said it's a very sad situation. The whole situation is very sad. Her and others, he added. Certainly, that's a horrible thing. Just like I guess it's horrible that Jeffrey Epstein died as well. And Donald John Trump Jr. on X said, "This is wild," saying that she would not commit suicide. So they're all leaning into the Virginia Roberts Giuffre narrative. Okay. White House has no specific timeline to release Epstein files despite Trump's promises. A number of files were handed to MAGA influencers amid a fanfare of publicity, but they turned out to hold no significant new information. The Attorney General invited MAGA influencers to see the first tranche of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Now, the White House says there's no specific timeline to release the rest. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's might be a Scientologist or has strong connections to Scientology, as covered on this channel, of the classified files on February 27 related to the now dead sex offender. She even invited some conservative online personalities to the White House to see the files for themselves. Conservative commentator Rogan O'Hanley, known online as DC Drano, was among the group, was given the white binder labeled Epstein Files Phase 1. Okay. So again, Caroline Levitt said, "I can assure you the Attorney General and her team are working on this diligently." Levitt said, calling Bondi a bulldog. my friend Wheezy and I from What Is Truth had a discussion that they could release him in 3 weeks. They're monitoring people's reactions on social media through gathering their psychographical data, running it through artificial intelligence. We know that Elon Musk is directly doing that with anybody on X, feeding it into Grok. So it should not. They're testing where the public is. So they could say no specific timetable and timeline, and then 2 or 3 days put out a limited hangout Epstein documents. Maybe not. It's possible. Heritage Foundation president on Trump's first 100 days. The first days of President Trump's second administration have been a whirlwind. He signed dozens of executive orders and actions, aggressively implemented tariffs, carried out deportations, erased diversity, equity, inclusion efforts, and created a government-slashing and former Department Doge. Trump's playbook appears to be similar was laid out in Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation's blueprint for a new Republican administration, though worth noting candidate Trump distanced himself from this plan. The Heritage Foundation has a tiny role in providing some of the ideas and some of the people to help that happen. They were very happy about that, Kevin Roberts, president of the foundation, told NPR. But not for us, instead for the American people. Okay. So, there you go. He is pleased. Kevin Roberts is pleased with the implementation of Project 2025. Here I have Elon Musk. Through Neuralink, we've received a breakthrough device designation from the FDA to restore communication for individuals with severe speech impairment. That includes those affected by ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease, stroke, spinal cord injury, cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, and other neurological conditions. If you or your loved one has lost the ability to speak, you can sign up to our patient registry today, help shape the future of communication. That's a weird. Lex Friedman, of course, saying huge congrats. Huge congrats from good old Lex, Russian Lex. All right, so here we have join Neuralink's patient registry today. So now we know that Neuralink is working to give sight to the blind, and now they're working to give a voice to the mute. So just keeping a track on Neuralink. Just keeping a track. I think it might be a major part of the market of the beast. Just watching. Welcome to Starbase, Texas has a new city home to Elon Musk's SpaceX. So they had voted that, Starbase, Texas is now a new city, in Texas. That's why I want to bring this up. I've talked about charter cities, Peter Thiel pushing charter cities and how this is a charter city. This is a company town. Now it's finally been approved, as I think it would be. Now, I was talking to my friend Twisted, and we were trying to discuss about why are the technocrats leading California to Texas. The only thing that I could come up with, outside of maybe some scenario where Texas has a massive earthquake and they know that that's coming and they're leaving. California has a massive earthquake and they know it's coming, so they're leaving California because of that. But outside of that, maybe because this power grid is separated from the rest of the United States of America. Meaning if they did run some sort of cyber pandemic and the power went out in the United States, Texas may be still up and running while the rest of the United States is down. Maybe that's why you need a lot of power for artificial intelligence, to keep artificial intelligence up to monitor everybody, which means a cyber pandemic may never happen because of that. But if it does, then that would be why they moved to Texas, because Texas power grid is separate from the rest of the United States of America. The rest of the United States, the power grid is connected, meaning it could be taken down by cyber attacks. But Texas is separate, okay? So it won't fall like a domino. If one part of the United States goes out, Texas will still remain. Okay? Maybe that's why. I don't know. Just speculating. So Joe Rogan had the Scientologist Hal Puthoff on to push the false alien deception narrative. Remote viewing is real. Aliens exist. In the USA, is at least 10 crafts that are non-human intelligence, all according to renowned physicist Hal Puthoff. Now, not everybody, in the UFO False Great Awakening grift was happy about this. And you can see in the comment section here, but, Jay Anderson mentions, Hal Puthoff was the highest rank in Scientology. CI Ron Pandolfi said that he was running Operation Snow White, which was Scientology's invasion of the United States intelligence agencies. 1960s and early 1970s, Puthoff was a Scientology operating Thetan OT, which is the top rank level in the Church's secretive spiritual hierarchy. He was also a Class 8 auditor, meaning he was among the most elite practitioners allowed to administer high-level Scientology counseling for auditing. He's publicly supported Scientology during this period and authored a technical bulletin for the church under L. Ron Hubbard's approval. Now, Alex Stein, 99 all the time, the shill that he is, also does, however, correctly mention that Joe's had Ron Miscavige on to expose the leader of Scientology, David Miscavige. So, yes, Joe has had in people to expose Scientology, but it's also platform Scientologists because Joe Rogan is double-minded. So there you go. That's the stream. Donate it if all possible, you guys. Trying to raise at least $20 or $30 today. Take care. God bless you. Love you guys. More streams this week.